Good morning. Good morning. Let's start, please. I'd like to ask you to take your seats, please. My name is Alice Martins. I'm the manager for food policies in the program Consciente Brasil from the Mercy for Animals organization. I'd like to welcome everyone in this panel, Sustainable Diets in Public Schools. I would like to call the panelists, so let's start by Tayana Oliveira, our partner, manager of food policies in HSI. She will present Salvador case. I would like to call Secretary Marcelo Oliveira, Education Secretary for the city of Salvador. And Marcele Moraes is the Secretary for Sustainability and Resilience in the city of Salvador. Next, Michele Letran, she is the Food Policies Manager for SGB. And the Deputy Secretary on Education from the Sao Paulo city. Bruno, please. Last but not least, the Director of Food Policies from the city of Niterói, Ivone Albertino. First of all, I'd like to thank ICLEI, the local governments for sustainabilities, and the organizations that are present here, Human Society International, HSI, the Brazilian Vegetarian Society, SVB, and the representatives of the city of Salvador, Sao Paulo, and Niterói for the initial comments on behalf of C40, our partner organization, for this panel. I'd like to invite Filippo Gavazzeni, heads of the Milan Pact Secretariat.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this third day of the Global Forum of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. It's a pleasure to host this parallel session in that we firmly believe that is enriching the overall program. Sustainable diets in public school is a fundamental pillar for, well, both for the path, but also for C40. As you are probably aware, C40 is a network of 96 megacities that are working towards with mayors committed to tackle the climate emergency. Within C40, we have this food system network. It's the most participated network with the 55 cities, and we have also this is the slide presenting it. We have launched the Good Food Cities declarations. You can see the main objectives of the declaration here, and as you can see, the first pillar of the Good Food City Declaration is perfectly aligning with the theme of this panel. Cities have a powerful lever in their hand, that is public procurement. So through our public procurement, we can really change the way in which people, starting from the youngest generation, eat and will eat in the future. And at the same time, with the power of our public procurement, with our purchasing power, we can change also the supply chain and the way in which food is produced. So this is a fundamental starting point for cities. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I will stop here just thanking all the organization that made this parallel session possible, and we are looking forward to listening to your insightful experience from Salvador, Niterói, and Sao Paulo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Filippo. Obrigada. Então, para contextualizar...
Thank you, Filippo. So, to give you some context on the panel, I'd like to tell you that we have the three organizations that work with food programs, the SVB, HSI, and we have worked in the public sector, municipal public sectors in schools in a coalition and with the goal to strengthen our food systems in Brazil, national and international levels, in a partnership with other organizations such as this one here, in a partnership with C40 and ICLEI. We would like to adopt strategies that can mitigate the climate impacts and to improve the diversity of food, vegetable food, plant-based food in the school menus, and to promote the nutritional education in municipal schools, and also to foster the increase of public purchases of food from family agriculture. We want to replace, as we've seen, 20% of the plant-based, animal-based food, and we would like to provide a sustainable and healthy food to everyone for the health of the people and for the health of the planet. So we bring nutritional education and environmental education through theoretical training for pedagogical teams, and also capacity building in plant-based cooking for the school public network. Everything for free. Now, what we want to bring would be 3 examples of success cases of these partnerships with the city of Salvador, Sao Paulo, and Niterói in different contexts. After these presentations, we're going to have a brief debate among the panelists here. And so I'd like to give the floor. Before giving the floor, I'd like to reinforce to the panelists that I'm going to let you know with 3 in 1 minute so that we make sure that we keep our time, okay? So let's pay attention to some logistics here. I'll give the floor to start the presentation by Salvador. Tayana Oliveira, she's the manager of food policies from HSI. Good morning. Starting the presentations with the city of Salvador. Is a large city in Brazil and has implemented the program Educating for Sustainability in a record time, 5 months. It is a school network that is very complex, so it is a success case. And I'm bringing to you in this panel, this case. It is an intersectorial work. The Education Secretary, represented by our Education Secretary, Marcelo Oliveira, and the Resilience and Sustainability Secretary, represented by Secretary Marcelo Moraes. I would like to give her the floor now. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marceli. I would like to thank, first of all, for being representing Salvador together with Marcelo, representing Bruno Reis, Ana Paula Matos, our mayor and deputy mayor, all our partners, ICLEI, C40, HSI, and all of you present here today in such an important session. I'm very happy to talk about this program. It's very important to know that many cities in Brazil, they are debating this topic of food security and food systems. This is a challenge for a country, above all because I believe that COP is going to have this topic in its agenda. Therefore, in this brief presentation, I'd like to talk about the problems that we have faced, the impact of monoculture. When you produce only one single crop, one single grain, you end up having a huge impact, decrease in the amount of insects and the decrease in the variety of species. So it really has an impact. And also the distance from those that produce to those that purchase. So when you are in a small city, distant from the larger urban centers, even the CO2 that is released and is emitted in this transportation, it has an impact. And it is important for us to decrease this distance. And this is one step that we are taking towards this urban agricultural approach that we have implemented in Salvador, so that we have the agroecology inside the city and also foster the small farmers in the city. The sustainable use of the soil has to do with monoculture as well, and consequently, the food security, both malnutrition due to the lack of food, and the undernutrition when people eat but they don't eat what they should. They end up by eating only cookies and a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of sugar. It doesn't mean that they are eating healthy. What Salvador has been trying to do to minimize the impacts will be the PMUNC. I'm sorry, it's misspelled. It's T-MUNC. This is our mitigation plan, climate mitigation plan. We have been following the PMUNC a lot. And second is we are trying to update our legislation for food safety and severity, and we have been working with many secretaries so that we can have the support. Someone that has a market, for instance, and is producing, I don't know, is selling tomatoes. They feel unsafe, they feel unsure, they are not selling, and they want to donate. If someone feels bad, they can say that it was a tomato that was sold. There is no legislation covering that. We have been working a lot on the draft for the update of the legislation. All our programs, they are oriented to vulnerable women, social vulnerability. Most of the programs, they are led by women, household leaders, and we have implemented urban green gardens as well, led by women. And we have the home green garden. And this is something that, this is a project that is very successful. We have about 1,000 green gardens at home. So someone requires that from the program, and we take the plants to be planted there. It doesn't matter if it is an apartment or a house. They are able to have the sustainable food. They can produce tomato and vegetables inside their home. And then we have the program that is a partnership with the Education Secretariat, which is educating to sustainability. Then we can decrease and we can replace animal protein, being replaced by plant protein. I'll give the floor to my friend Marcelo so that he can speak a little bit more about this program that work in this partnership, showing the indexes.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure being here. As I have a very little time, I'm going direct to the topic. And you see, who is Salvador? Is the third major capital in Brazil, 2.8 million of inhabitants, 428 schools and 170,000 students, and 50 million meals served a year. This project that Diana mentioned very briefly is true. The idea when we were presented to it, and people know this, all these sustainability secretaries and Brazilians, this has everything to do with education. I bought the idea immediately, and I was very much enthused to check how we could reduce animal protein, offering kids new options with new flavors. You know that Baiana culinary is very rich. So doing this switch from animal to vegetable, to me, it was a big and very pleasant challenge. And on March, we've signed March 22, we've signed the agreement. And on April, we already was ready to present this for the schools and the principals. On August, we already set up the pilot project. In this period from May to June, we've trained around 300 people in the kitchens of these schools. We also preparing these new recipes. We had the pilot project in 30 schools, and as we managed, people accepted this so well that they went beyond our own estimates. The proportion was greater than we could even think. On September, we had all the interventions in the school chain. We started with the project of schools, school vegetable gardens, and then we started with 10 vegetable gardens, and then we move forward so that up until the end of the year we will have a larger number of these projects setting up vegetable gardens, yes, in the schools. Well, 1 minute, only that. Okay. On March 2023, we will launch educational material to be distributed in the cities. Well, the net result of all that, you see the amount of forest that was preserved, 400 million liters of water, and 5,000 tons of CO2 that restrained from being emitted. But we are not talking about cost. Or say, how can we understand really this product? We could not measure cost reductions. Why? Because vegetables that are being offered are not so cheap. The idea, though, was to offer these children to try to taste new tastes, so that their diet will be healthier. So we were not focusing exactly cost reduction immediately, but to break down the barrier of taste, that this was most important than to break the barrier of cost in the beginning, at least. So we would like to guarantee to reduce 20% at least the animal protein. And this is being checked. We are surveying this very closely, and this is really happening. It's a reality. Of course, with all the impacts of all the other links of the chain. Marcelo will contribute with that. Also, the climate is being impacted to that. And of course, I'm very anxious to sign the pact in very few minutes. Thank you very much for your attention.
Obrigada.
Thank you very much, Marcelo and Marceli. Now we are going for another success story. It's Sao Paulo. The municipality implemented this for more than 10 years. And it's a good example showing how a program can give hand in hand with the government and the public initiative to be a success story. Good morning. I'm going to follow the example of Secretary Marcelo, and I'm going to be direct to the point. Only to remember, it's a pleasure being here, but to remember who Sao Paulo is. Sao Paulo, of course, has 12 million inhabitants with a big budget. From this universe, we have today the municipal network of education, 80 million students with 18 billion reais as a budget. Can you imagine? We have daycare centers, of course, going up to the university. So we have all the basic and low-level educational schools. This is the challenge of having programs coming from the government that can look at this very big population of children and students. Of course, we have a lot of inequalities, and we cannot turn this into a kind of not seeing situation. Of course, Sao Paulo suffers with all these challenges. 54% of our students are vulnerable. And of course, this reflects in a very strong way on our own responsibility of providing them good and healthier meals in schools. Of course, trying to improve our food system, but undoubtedly we are trying to recover the idea of giving the students not only educational skills, but also what we can offer in terms of good diet for them. So coming back to our partnership with SFBV, which is a very rewarding partnership, starts, as Michele said, in 2011 rather, and going step by step, we transformed the setting. In 2012, we started the network. Then every 15 days, we have the replacement of one animal protein by a vegetable protein. In 2019, we start seeing that we have different periods or landmarks. Of course, we have to also to check the impacts of our own policies. So in 2019, we noticed that there was a problem with the acceptance of those new diets. So we started to review, of course, different nutritional factors in our diet so that we could improve our own recipes to improve, of course, the acceptability. In Sao Paulo, we are a very diverse ethnic state. So we have also different cultures that also can help us. The Arab community, for instance, is helping us in the use of wheat. Just to give you an example, in 2021, there came the pandemic, bringing a very important challenge to all of us, of course. We were in danger of not being able to provide good diets to the kids, but we made our most important efforts to deliver more than 1 million baskets and healthier baskets for them, with perishable goods and with non-perishable goods, but always focusing food that could help the families. In 2022, we are trying to use videos and we are also presenting new recipes. What I would like to share with you is that we have a history of more than 10 years trying to benefit students in our municipal school network. The participation of all these nutritionists and these cooks made us able to offer good meals to our students. We have 2 meals a day, so we are very proud of that. So as we are expanding the time in schools, we are servicing 2 million meals in Sao Paulo. I'm talking about more than 400 million a year. Is not a negligible data. So we arrive at what I say is the positive environmental impact. We have 42,000 hectares of preserved forest, 1 billion liters of water that was saved, and 197,000 tons of CO2 non-emitted. We are always concerned of the environment impact, so we are combating wastes, of course, and we are doing strategic plannings in our secretariat to set up good goals using ADS, so the matrix that we are using are very important. So we are always checking what are the programs that can move our societies a step further. So in our competency, well, I still have 1 minute, right? I can breathe, says the speaker. Well, I'm just presenting you a snapshot of what we have been doing. And our society is many times a society in which many students, of course, go to school not only for the food or for the meals, for education, of course, but food for them is very important as well. We cannot ignore this. We are trying to change or switch their food habits, of course, nutritional habits. So we are trying to pursue our sustainable development goals also. So we are trying to take out all the processed food from them, and we are certain that together we will go longer in the future. That will be much better for all of us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bruno. And now we will have Niterói case in Rio de Janeiro that has already set up this program 4 or 5 years ago, bringing an example of solid cases for school meals and school menus to have a sustainable, good policy. Ivone Albertino, Director of the Municipal Foundation of Niterói City. Good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation and representing our Mayor, Axel Grael, and Limpo Secretariat. And we are a foundation also. The president is Felipe Belot. So I would like to thank the trust the government bestowed to me. I was chosen to represent Niterói. Niterói is just 1% of you. We only have 700 inhabitants. We have 115 schools. We have a full-time period for the schools. And we have 43 for partial time students. We have this kind of distribution. And now in 2023, we will open up 4 more schools to absorb the second segment of our basic school. And with that, we have 33,000 students with the full-time students, giving them 2 meals. And all this story came about because I am a professor, or a school teacher rather. I teach mathematics, so I know public school a lot, better say. So I come from an era where we used everything in powder. Milk was in powder. The nutrients was also given in powder form to be dissolved. So in 2013, I was invited by the government, local government, to work in school meal. For me, it was very surprise because I was working at the management level and I was accountable to this sector. So I started in this new field. I was working at the school meals and was taken from the managerial level. What happened? I went to the foundation in this same year, in 2013, and I wanted to start working on the self-esteem of the cooks. They were not valued enough. Kitchens were always at the very back of schools in a very precarious situation. People would not have any kind of self-esteem with that. I just wanted to be clean with that. Okay, so I started thinking on family agriculture. I'd love to check this. So I started doing this, and on 2017, I was called by the mayor, and he told me we have ACB program, and we have to start next year. That was November. And I was very scared. It was a big change. I knew my team, though, so she told me, don't fear anything. And I told him, we are going to move to a radical new position. Niterói is a very high positioned city, and we know that many inhabitants are in deep poverty. Of course, the quality of life is something that should be taken care of, but we have a middle class also invading the public school network, not quite invading, I would say migrating to public school, because with the pandemic, the financial situation of families worsened a lot, and they needed now the public school system. Of course, they eat different vegetables, so middle class is also worried with health food. And that, in a certain point, helped us out. We started only with half the network and with children education. We have to start with the small ones, and it was a success.
It was a success for the public education, they each twice. So we have this work in the pedagogical proposal as well. So we had to align that with the pedagogical workers so that we could work on this educational proposal. This would be part of the conscious food. And we started to change the menus. We had 12 dietitians, and now we have only 6. We had to train, and we had to call our body in Niterói to train with the principals. So up, down, it's something that you're making up that. And I was saying, no, I'm not stepping back. I have to advance, and it was really successful. We have a dietitian that is really helpful and supportive, and she made a acceptability test proposal, and we moved forward. And then we did that to the whole network. I'm not going to look much to the slides, but it was really successful. So every Wednesday with new recipes, I always ask for new recipes. In the beginning, we're working with the inputs that were already in our meals. We know that we have to bid to buy, to purchase, right? Well, I'm about to finish, I'm sorry. And what happened? We had another purchase, a new purchase, and we inserted several other inputs to improve the recipes. And then we had a pandemic, and it messed things up a little bit. Children were eating anything. We had a card for them. We gave them a card so that they could buy anything they wanted. And basic basket was not that basic. It was green basket for more than 150,000 basket, very nice bags with fruit and vegetables. And we were sending recipes together so that they could cook what we were sending. It really worked, was really tiresome. We had less students, less teachers, but we have as much work as you do. But you have that in a larger scale, okay? And we had different menus, as I said, and it's moving forward. So we have invited CB again. We had 2 training sessions this year, and with the university, we had accelerated the green garden process. The family agriculture and the school gardens, they help us out because they start to know the food, and they eat better. They get to know the inputs that are being planted. And also we had water improved, and we have different meals. We have the recipes, some recipes that they enjoy most, and we measure that, we analyze that with our nutritional expert. We had the soccer court, we had the water, we had composting. We have a school that is already making composting products, and we struggle a lot. It is a matter of health, right? The city talks a lot about sustainability, and we are looking for a partnership with the environmental secretariat, but this is part of the Niterói Food Council, and it helps us to communicate our work. When we talk to the parents, and they are really amazed, and we have to change their lives at home as well, as Sao Paulo said, because in Sao Paulo, at home, they take soft drinks, and in the school, they take fruit juice. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Yvonne. Yvonne is a great champion of the program. We call them the ambassador of our program, and she has been fighting for the program and maintaining the strength of the program and its continuity, and also facing different administrations. To start with questions, I'd like to start with you, Yvonne. What was the major challenge for the implementation of the program, and how your administration has dealt with? The major challenge is the resistance from the adults, the teacher, the worker in the schools. So how are we dealing with that? We are training them according to different ranges. So first teachers, then the principal, then the pedagogical workers. When the nutritionists, they come to school, they help we ask them to talk to the parents of the students that don't eat well, they don't accept any meal. So we talk about these conscious and healthy food. And for this year, 2022, we had a plan, but we had we had a change in our board and the secretariat as well. So it changes the secretary and everything changes. And well, I'm staying, okay? So with the adolescents, we had a labeling. This is a technique that our nutritionists use. So we face this resistance of the adolescents, and we have closed all the restaurants that we had, the canteens, and this is something political, and we have to do that with the parents. And we have started the training. If when the year start again, we'll start again as well, training them. In the last purchase, we have the large meals for a large purchase of food. We have several products to support this program of Wednesday without animal protein. So we have reduced a lot the animal protein and had this. Well, they were saying that I didn't want to spend money, that the mayor is stealing money. So this is something that really worry us. I'm unionized, but you know, they are come after me. It seems that I am the one that is killing the animals, and it's still the resistance of the adults is the worst challenge. But I'm going to win the challenge, okay? You did already, because we have great results in Niterói with new food products. So we'll buy chickpea, lentil, white beans, and including all of that, we have diversified the school food. So, and it has a high acceptability, more than 88%. That is more than the program, the PNI states. So it is a constant evolution, but we are moving forward. Michelle, I would like to invite Secretary Bruno to talk a little bit about what are the plans for the expansion in the city of Sao Paulo. Thank you, Michelle. Just to let you all know, I think that the stories are very similar. We do have this resistance, and we have to try to break. We have different resistances according to the scale, but sometimes you need more people to be the champion. So Yvonne, we're inviting you to come to Sao Paulo. We can take her to all the schools to help us out. So this resistance, and then we have a need to be creative, because it's not many times it's not part of the menu for the family at home. And we are trying out as well. We have been doing experiences. We know they have tried the PTS. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And we are really struggling and putting a major effort to introduce the grains, the chickpea, the lentil, the wheat, and all. So we have been looking at 23 to 26. Our goal is to double what we have been doing. So every 15 days in the schools, we will have now weekly, since we have some units that I have twice, 2 meals. I'll try to reduce first one and then the second one in the same days, or in day on, day off. So the proposal is that in 2026, we'll be able to double or to decrease our environmental footprint and improving the impact to society. In 2026 in Buenos Aires, Professor Ricardo Nunes in the C40, he's presenting this proposal, where certainly will have an impact in the next years, and we are really excited about it to continue in this partnership to implement the project. I would like to ask Secretary Marcelli and the Secretary Marcelo, how do you see this program as a public policy that could resist and continue in different administrations? Okay, in order to make it permanent, it has to be consolidated in our network. Since we are talking about food, we're talking about changing the culture of children and families. So we also face this criticism, oh, we are removing the animal protein, you're trying to save money. And I have emphasized that because this is something that people insist on, that we are trying to save money. We're not saving money. We have not been measuring the savings yet. We want to change food habits, which is extremely difficult. We have to make the recipes reach not only the schools, but they have to reach the homes so that the food that the children will take in school will be reproduced or be similar to the food they eat at home. So this is a program that we have, as Marceli said, the Sustainability and Resilience Project. The main target, the target audience will be the women, head of their households. So in order to have this program going beyond the municipal managements in the future, we can change the habits and reach the home of the students. Can you hear me? I would like to add here that through environmental education, we can do that as well. My secretary, working with the educational secretary, we go there, we have this whole environmental education work according to the climate changes, and then we implement the school green gardens. So it's not only the food that changes, but the green gardens inside the school so that children, they have this direct contact with fruit, with vegetables, with these fruit gardens as well, so that our target is to implement the green gardens in school in up to 100 schools, and we hope to reach the whole municipal network so that we can have the next generations in a successful food habit. Now, I would like to thank Elizabeth Moura. She's the coordinator of the Circular Development by eClay, and she will provide the final comments here. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, everyone. Welcome here. It is a great honor and a pleasure to be here with our cities and with the institutions, the HSI, SVB, and C40, and others. Tomorrow Institute and many cities. I would like to salute especially, I think you've seen the engagement. We had Professor Graziano, Dr. Jose Graziano. He talked a lot about the importance of the engagement and political positioning. Yesterday we had the debates and we work in a coalition. We have created a network of cities, and this work in coalition with the Milan Pact, with the cities, towards sustainable development. And we have to talk about the political engagement. We have been talking about the political positioning and also the engagement of those that are inside the public administration. So I would like to compliment here all of those that are part of this work. When we talk in our networks, we promote and we summarize 5 pathways for the sustainable development, thinking about a pathway to evolve consistently. We talk about a low-carbon development based in nature that would be resilient, that would be circular, and mainly always people-centered. So nothing better to summarize that than to improve health of people and quality of life as well. So this is our point for circular development. My small participation to summarize all of that, and also we'll talk about the R's of the circular development that all the cities have presented here. Everyone that is here in the audience, they can apply, rethink, redesign the systems, regenerate and harmonize with nature. So everything they're doing, every worker that's going to apply the conscient food or cooking, to do more with less. And you've been teaching us how we can improve more and bring more nutritional products to our children and population and recover. That will close the circle or the cycle. I would like to highlight that everything that we've been talking about conscious food, it aligns with the SDGs, and it makes us all improve and evolve. And I'd like to highlight the importance of the Milan Pact. It's totally aligned with the Milan Pact, especially when we talk about indicators. I'm going to read my cheat sheet here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. 2, 12, 16, 24, 33, and 38. In the governance categories: production of food, distribution of food, and is also aligned with other declarations on sustainability, and the main one of the Glasgow Declaration and the Barcelona challenges. I would like to highlight it is also aligned with what we said with the framework of circular development by ICLEI. We also talked a lot about the importance, and I'd like to leave here some examples. These examples can bring to other city governments that are facing these challenges. We know that it's not easy. These examples, we should continue this conversation based on these examples. This is our function as a city network, as a pact, as international coalition for food systems, to promote and strengthen the legal frameworks of the cities, how we can make people aware so that we improve the financial resources in the city governments, so that we can also improve the public administration, and we can provide capacity building to our workers. During these 3 days, we have the best examples here. And here we have summarized in 5 minutes, from 5 minutes of every presentation, the capacity building and communication. And in communication, I'd like to highlight a lot the matter of internal communication. I'm really touched to see 2 secretaries in one single city government working together, and knowing that you're promoting that. I've been working 18 years in city governments, and only those that have worked with city governments, you know how challenging it is to have this work together in the city government. The SVB as well, the Brazilian Vegetarian Society. We have to make people aware, and we can engage the population to support us and to make this transformation together with us.
And I want to tell you that the space that we have shared in a very brief way should be taken to a further degree. We should go on participating. I congratulate the event, the City Hall of the Rio de Janeiro city, because people showed the political will of discussing so many projects. So we invite all the actors to go on contributing and sharing their own experiences. I invite the City Hall of Rio de Janeiro, the mayor, of course, to go on with this effort. And besides inviting the City Hall of Rio de Janeiro, we would like to invite all municipalities, all city halls, different city halls, to study these sustainable meals, sustainable menus, so that we can really improve the quality and the health of our children and of our populations. So my message is this one. We will still engaging in our commitment with the healthier and better food for all of us, developing joint projects so that we can really be always moving forward, never moving backward, so that all these meals that you have already provided can really be a seed for our future. Thank you very much.
Encerramos.
So we have closed our panel with these words. Thank you, and thank you very much.